This is Field Notes from the Proving, short reflections from inside the process of building a life that's earned, not perfected, earned. Discipline is celebrated. People admire it, they respect it, they repost quotes about it. But what almost nobody talks about is the true loneliness that comes with it. Because the truth is, discipline doesn't just change your life, it separates you. Not because you want it to, that's for sure, but because once you start doing the work consistently, you begin to realize how few people actually do. So by the time October rolled around, the rhythm had basically started to settle in for me. The way I kind of saw it was August was a trial run. I was really trying to figure out the miles, figure out the pace, kind of figure out how to even structure the week. But honestly, that really wasn't the hardest part to adapt to. Getting up early didn't really feel like a battle. Following the plan didn't really feel restrictive. And honestly, if anything, August was kind of strangely calm. And I think it could be for the first time in a long time, I was giving up a sense of control. I wasn't trying to optimize everything. I wasn't rewriting the system. I was kind of just following the plan. And I really started to enjoy the small milestones. You check off every run and you get the nice run, Chris, and you complete week 1. And then, that turns into completing week 2 and 3 and so on and so forth. And stacking the first few long runs, it's just the little check marks started really to, add up and start to produce a little bit more meaning in my life. And they certainly weren't impressive, but they were consistent. And they what's kind of allowed September to become something different for me. September became consistency. September became about showing up, the stacking of the miles, learning how to recover. The mileage started to increase. And I remember the Saturday long run starting to feel like, wow, I'm breaking 5 miles, 6 miles, 7 miles, whatever it may be. And, the routine was really settling in, and I looked forward to it. And I kind of got peace of mind because of it. And I'll be honest with you, I did follow the plan pretty meticulously. And then by September was kind of done and we started to enter into October. October kind of introduced something new, and that was refinement, speed workouts, posture, cadence, breathing, little adjustments that started to show everything had changed. And it also didn't hurt that by October, I was starting to see the physical changes too, if I'm being honest. I mean, my legs were certainly getting stronger. I had those cuts in my thighs that, when you see the bodybuilders today and you see the massive cuts in the chiseled legs, I was starting to see that, and that was really kind of awesome to see, quite honestly. My abs were chiseled as hell. It was awesome. I was kind of back to my 18-year-old model days with the chiseled abs and that tiny waist, if you will. And honestly, that part was pretty good too. Not in the vanity way, but just as proof that the work was there and it was real. And that's when something else even became clear, that at this point in my life, consistency itself was the achievement. Showing up was the achievement, because for most of my life, the formula had taught me that effort should always be tied to output. You have to work harder, Chris. You got to improve the system, optimize the output. But this was, different. This was the first time in a long time that I was investing effort purely for me. Not for approval, not for promotion, not for some metrics someone else cared about. Purely showing up for me with the expectation to run a cool half. And every run felt like a quiet act of defiance against the formula. And that, honestly, was pretty cool. And strangely, I really started to enjoy that part, the rhythm, the routine, the quiet discipline of it. But at the same time, there was something else happening underneath it, because discipline is, it's glamorous in a way. You certainly feel stronger, sharper. You feel like you're actively changing your life. And that feeling is definitely intoxicating, especially to someone like me with a past history of performance perfectionism. But what nobody really was talking about then is the strange tension that comes with it. Because for you, it feels like this pivotal moment. You're putting this physical effort and energy into change, mental energy into the change, emotional energy into change. You're doing everything you can to move your life in this different direction. To some degree, one would even argue you're almost forcing it. And yet the world around you remains exactly the same. Your routines look exactly the same. Your life looks the same. Nothing dramatic has even changed yet, except you. And there's a strange place in this that you just kind of peacefully coexist-ish, because internally everything feels different, but externally nothing moved. So you just keep showing up quietly. And maybe part of that was still the formula talking. Don't talk about it yet type of thing. Don't celebrate it yet. Don't say anything until you get there, wherever there is. And in my case, that half. So I kept most of it to myself. I don't think it was because I wasn't proud of it. I was, but I really wasn't about the accolades at that point. I didn't want the medal for waking up and going for the run. I mean, that was the process. I mean, who cares? In my opinion, for me, that's what it was. I did what I had to do. I think what I wanted was simply to share the journey. At the time, I didn't really do that. I had social media, but I wasn't someone who posted updates like that. Like, hey, 5-mile run today. Part of me probably thought people wouldn't care. And maybe that is true, or maybe that is the formula talking. At the same time, there was something about keeping it quiet that I actually loved because it was mine. And I think that's why I kept with that. I was doing it for me. And I guess for the first time in a long time, that was truly enough. And then slowly, without even really noticing it, discipline begins to kind of separate you. For whatever reason, your schedule just becomes different. Your priorities become different. Your mornings become and just are different. The late nights out certainly become harder. Skipping workouts stops feeling really normal. The way you spend your time starts to change. And at first, that shift is isolating because you notice something uncomfortable that most people love the idea of discipline, but very few people are willing to live inside it. I've seen so many people talk about disciplines. Here's my 10-step, way to do it. And here's my morning routine. And here's the spreadsheet in which I lay everything out. And here's the 15 apps for habit trackers. And I set daily reminders and my calendar block for me time. Honestly, all of that is certainly helpful. But personally, none of it matters until you just get up and do the damn thing. You can plan discipline forever, but nothing replaces putting the miles under your feet. Nothing replaces getting up and just going for the run and just doing it. And then eventually something shifts because at first you thought the runs were just simply kind of leading to a goal, the half marathon, the training plan, the improvement. But over time, the runs become something else. They become space to think and to process and to kind of find yourself, space to understand, what was exactly happening in my life at that moment. It's kind of funny because I do remember one run in particular on September 30th, 2024. It was my long run, 10 full miles. The weather was terrible that day, so I had to unfortunately do it on the treadmill. So imagine doing 10 miles on a stationary treadmill in New Jersey, which meant I was staring at the reality that I was about to run for at least an hour and 20 minutes, maybe an hour and a half in the same place. I remember thinking to myself, not sure I'm going to be able to do this. Because when you look at something like that, your mind immediately starts negotiating. I mean, who wouldn't try and negotiate yourself out of a treadmill workout? But something interesting happens when you stay there long enough. Your mind starts working with you instead of against you. Here's what I mean with that. It was kind of like my mind turned into think of it as a filing cabinet or some messy computer desktop where everything is scattered everywhere. But as I, turned the treadmill on and started to put the miles under my feet, I could almost watch myself reorganizing the cluttered computer or the messy filing cabinet. It's funny. I would think about the problems I wanted to solve, decisions I needed to make, conversations I had replayed 100 times, old relationship, work situations, things that bothered me, things I wanted to change. And as the miles just kept going, it felt like I was slowly filing everything away. All the while, my legs just kept moving underneath me, running in place. And I trusted that. And it became just such a strangely beautiful moment because I never ran 10 miles before at this point. And yet I was still there doing something that at seemingly moments before felt impossible and making peace with the parts of my life while doing it. And that run changed something for me because it made me realize that discipline wasn't just training my body. It was giving me the space to just understand and organize my life. I guess ultimately what I'm getting at is that I found that discipline certainly will change your life, but it just does it slowly, not dramatically, but like steering into a curve instead of steering away from it. At first, I guess the change is a bit more forced, like you're pushing your life in a different direction, but over time you stop forcing it and you just kind of learn to accept and embrace because you realize that change isn't happening to the world. It's just, I guess, happening for you. And when that shift happens, discipline stops feeling like punishment. It starts feeling more like ownership. And honestly, the more I thought about it, the more I realized something else too, that the loneliness of discipline isn't unique to running. You certainly see it everywhere. In the quiet builder, if you will, who's trying to create something that doesn't exist yet. In the soldier or the police officer learning to carry a responsibility most people will never have to carry. In the person fighting their way out of addiction or the person rebuilding their life after loss. Anyone who's ever decided that the life they're living right now isn't the life they want to stay in. Because the truth is, the moment you decide to change your life, there's always a period where you have to walk that path alone. Not forever, but long enough to prove to yourself that you can. And that's what discipline really revealed to me. Yeah, it separates you from the outside world. But at the same time, it certainly reconnects you with yourself. And for the first time, I started to believe something about myself that I hadn't fully believed before. That I can handle difficulty, physical difficulty, mental difficulty, emotional difficulty, all at the same time. That I could sit with discomfort and keep going. That somewhere in that process, the formula had been running my life for so long, started reorganizing it in my mind finally. Not disappearing, not changing, because I was finally proving something to myself, not with words, not with plans, but truly with actions. And maybe that's the real truth about discipline. It separates you from the outside world so you can finally reconnect with yourself.